So, last class I talked about pandas, and I believe we all enjoyed the class working with pandas, how you can use it to work with data in tabular form, and how you can use it to just inspect your data, know more about your data. And especially when you are looking for data analysis role or even data science role, you will be surprised what some of the requirements you will see. You see that most of the time they will put Matplotlib, pandas, Python Numpy. That is, they really admire people that know how to use all this particular library. So it's not as if we are just talking about it. It's just like a must for everybody to know. So especially if you are to use what you are learning to work or to earn money. So this is just like, and after I've actually touched almost everything I wish to touch, I'm going to bring everything together to work on a project that you see how, although from our pandas class you can see how this particular stuff works, you see how amazing they are. So what is Numpy? Numpy is a Python library, we all know that, which pandas too is a Python library, and is used for working with array. So when we are talking about pandas, you see that those are just used. Pandas is most used with data in a tabular form and probably checking what is going on. But when it comes to NumPy, the beauty of it is using to work on array, and we are going to see how you can work with array here. So it also has functions for working for domain of linear algebra. So most of the time there can be some mathematical computing you have to implement in your data analysis or data science, and one of the libraries that will help you to do all this numeric and all this basic mathematical computation is NumPy. So that's why it's also good to know it. And the person that created this, the person created it in 2005, and it's called Travis Oliphant. So it's also an open source project. So especially if you are really good with it, you can see a fault in this particular library and you can open an issue about it, that okay, this particular things I'm not okay with it, I want to contribute to this open source. So you can contribute to it and you will surely get paid for doing it. So it's an open source project. The library is an open source project. So if you know it, there are even some open source project that they can reward you up to like $5,000 if you can contribute meaningful things to their project. So it's always good, especially when you've been working with it for a very long time and you've seen what they are meant to be improved or what you thought that is not really okay. You can open an issue with it and tell them you want to contribute to it, and once they accept, you create a pull request, then they merge your solution. So why use NumPy? So in Python we have list that serves the purpose of array. So like when it comes to other language, you hear often more array, but when it comes to Python we call it list. But most of the time we bring that ideology of array to Python. So array just means anything inside a square bracket, but in other language they don't really recognize list, only Python recognize list. So and list is just what that array means in other language. So that's just it, it's just as the same as that. But anything inside, because when you hear array now you'll be thinking that we probably have not heard anything about array before, but array is just like a list, and a list is anything inside a square bracket. We've talked about it before. So they are just calling it another name here, and other language call it array, just like JavaScript, Java, all other language, they majorly call it array, but in Python we call it list. So and NumPy aim to provide an array object that is up to 50 times faster than traditional Python list. So that's one of the function, and the array object in NumPy is called NArray. So it provides a lot of support function that make working with NArray very easy. So array are very frequently used in data science where speeds and resources are very important. So the reason why they major on this is because they embrace speed and they embrace especially when you are working, as a data scientist you may end up working with a very large data set, and you need some command that will make all those things to be very fast. So that's why numpy is one of an option, especially when you are performing arithmetic operation on those particular data sets. So why is numpy faster than list? So numpy arrays are stored at one continuous place in memory, unlike list. So process can access and manipulate them very efficiently. So the behaviors is called locality of reference in computer science. So this is the main reason why numpy is faster than list. So these are just like the major reason, because numpy arrays stored at once continuous place in memory, so but list does not. That's why they prefer array, and especially when it comes to you, especially anybody that have vision or you have passion to work with all these big tech company like Facebook, like Google, like maybe Amazon, maybe all this Goodman Sachs, in the Goodman Sachs, all these big company, Bloomberg, all these big company. If you want to work with them, they have to test your array, how to use your array, and you must really know how to use it, because if you don't know how to use it, even if you have awesome project, they may not hire you because even as you, the only thing that your awesome project can do for you is for them to pick you and call you for interview. But if you cannot ace the interview, you will not be hired. So most of the time is very advisable you learn it more and more. And for me, I cannot teach you everything. That's just it. So these are just like basics and fundamental that you need to know about them. And which language is numpy written in? So numpy is a Python library and is written partially in Python, but most of the parts that require fast computation are written in C or C++. So despite that numpy is a Python library, there are still some other language that contribute to this library. So when they are building this project, that is, anybody that want to contribute to this particular library, you must either know Python or know C language, or know C plus plus, because these are the language that they were brought together to build this particular awesome library. So then installation of numpy, just like the way we talked about it with pandas. So is either you use pip install numpy if you are not working with Jupyter Notebook in Anaconda, but only if you are working with you are working with Jupyter Notebooks in Anaconda. You don't necessarily need to install anything, so you can easily import it and it's going to work perfectly. But if you are working, and Spider also, there is a Spider software too. If you are working with it, you don't necessarily need to import or to install it, but you can only import. But if you are working with anything apart from that, you have to install it. You either use pip install numpy or conda install numpy, especially if you are using VS Code, or you are using pycharm, you are using what library, what id, we have different kind of Python IDs. So just like software for writing Python code, we use Sublime Text also to write Python code. All those ones you cannot import all these particular library without installing them. So if you are working with that, you have to install them. So, and this is how you install them: pip install numpy. So now let me clear my, so that I will restart and clear all output. So now if you want to, you can either import numpy this way, or you use alias, just like import numpy as uh, np, And don't forget about something: import start with small letter and numpy also start with small letter, because if you mistakenly use capital letter I in import and or probably capital letter N for numpy, you are going to see error instead of it running successfully. So you have to know how to work with all these keywords in Python. So if you are not conversant with the rules that guide them, you will just be seeing error, error, error up and down. So now numpy is imported and ready to use. So now this array, you can see I told us the other time that anything inside a list is called array. So just like list, but there is just another beautiful way by using numpy here to convert that particular list to array, but majorly is something inside a square bracket. So if I run it now and I try to print it, you will see it now that it gave me 1 2 3 4 5, and you see it gave me inside a square bracket. So if I want to check the type, if I said print type array, you will see that it's giving me that class numpy.nArray. And what actually make this to change to this is because of this that we attached in front of it, numpy.array. Then you open the bracket, then put this square bracket inside. That's what change the natures of the data, but initially it's a list. So and also you can use numpy as alias, just like I said. Instead of we calling numpy the way we use numpy here, you can actually use np. So anytime you want to use numpy, you only use np. So array equals to np dot array, then just like the same thing, and you will see that it gave us the same result. And if I print the type again, type print type array, so it's going to give us this also. So that's just it. Then checking the version. At times you may be working with outdated version, and it's always good to actually check the version you are working with. So it's just like np dot underscore underscore version underscore underscore is going to, but because we use np, is because we've used alias here, like import numpy as np. That's why we are able to use np here, and we are able to see the version we are working with. So numpy creating array. So numpy is used to work with array. The array object is numpy, is called narray. We can create a numpy narray object by using the array function. So these are just the way you can create it. Import numpy as, so these are just like the way we work with it. And I try to even check the type here. I think I've shown us how we can check it before too. So this is the value and this is it. And these are just like repetitive example. So this is another example. So it can be zero dimension, because when you are working with numpy dimensional array, it can be zero dimension, it can be one dimension, it can be two, it can be three. It depends on how far you want to go with it. So this is just like putting 43 42 here, you are working with zero dimension. So and if I run it now, you will see that I only have 42, which is zero dimension, and this like one dimension array. So if I run it now, this just like one dimension. So we have 1 2 3 4 5, and when it comes to two dimension, you will see that we have two square brackets here. We have 1 2 3 in one square bracket, we have 4 5 6 in another square bracket. So this is what we call two dimensional array, and we can see the output here, saying 1 2 3 and 4 5. They are not in the same square bracket, so they are different. So the first one is one dimension, the second one is another dimension. So calling the two of them together, they are two dimensional array. And when it comes to three dimension, you will see that this has three uh So this has three dimension and its element in 3D array. These are often used to represent a third order. So the reason why this one is three dimension is because they are okay. The reason why this is called three dimension array, you will see, is because they we separate them. Like this is just like one, this is another one, and this is the third one, and these are just like in three position. And numpy array provide the ending attribute. At times we can be confused, and we may want to return the integer that tell us how many dimension. Probably we don't really get the dimension and we want to, we can actually, this is for this one we have 42, this one b we have this, and this we only have in two square bracket, and this we have this. So and we already use a dot ending, b dot ending, and this. If we run this now, you see that e actually give us that the first one is zero dimension, the second one is one dimension, the third one is two dimension, this 42 is zero dimension, this one is one dimension, this one is two dimension array, and this is three dimension array. So at times you may be confused and you may not know how to really calculate them, so you can easily use this ending to get the dimension of each array. So and higher dimensional array, so here you can even specify the numbers of dimension you want it to be. So if I run this now, you will see that just because we added ending equals to 5 here, it help us to increase the dimension to 5. And although there is no really value, e just added the square bracket, opening close. You can see a lot of square brackets here, 1 2 3 4, and you can see it here also. So just because we add ending, so at times you may want to enlarge your dimension. So if you add ending equals to the numbers of dimension you want it to be, so it's going to automatically enlarge it for you. So and you can see it here that it told us that the numbers of dimension here is 5 instead of 1. This should be one dimension, but just because we had this, that's why it enlarged it. So that's all for me for numpy, and I'm going to start with matplotlib now to show us how we can also use it. Although the way I prepare my matplotlib, I prepare it with numpy, like the way I can use numpy with matplotlib. So me explaining matplotlib is just like I'm still going back to some functionality, because most of the time all of them are used together. So even there will be a time we'll be using pandas with numpy with matplotlib with another, even you can use up to like 5 or 6 library in a project at times. So I'm just trying to explain them one after the other so that you can see how they being used. So now I will open my matplotlib. Or before I move forward, is there any question based on that?
Hello, my own question is that on that standard, so where they are using df.com and database.com, is it really means that it's really the one that is at the hub of that file or that state able to bring out all the different one and why so what's the version of command file?
Please, your voice is not really clear though. I don't really get what you are saying. Please, I don't really get what you
What
are
I'm
saying.
saying now is that um, my question is that if I'm asking for them to find out, so there
Okay,
is a case that every time here dot edge and
okay.
they bring out maybe 1 to 10 or 1 to 15, you specify who that is to specify that. Here's the number from maybe for instance maybe if the data set is 1 to 100. Can we specify that okay from I need the figure from 1 to 50 or 1 to 10 or 1 to 10 like that? See that
Yes,
like that.
sure, you can actually do it. So I can show us something like that. So let me open my pandas. Where do I have pandas? I'm coming. Let them load so that I can show us. I'm still waiting for my. I'm coming. I'm just waiting for my notebook to come up so that I can probably explain that. So you inspecting your data is in two way, especially when you are reading it with pandas. If you use pandas.head, it's going to only give you the first five of your row of the rows of your data. And if you are using tail, because the way you are using .head, you can also use .tail. So once if you use .tail, it's going to give you the last five of your data. So if instead of .head, inside that particular parenthesis you can put maybe 50, you can put 100, you can put any number. Probably you want the number to increase. So adding be my this as load, I would have just practicalized it so that you can see what I'm saying, so that it will not just be like a theory, you will see it working. But basically that's the ideology behind it. So if you use head, is just only going to give you it's just only going to give you the first five. And okay, now, so let me just run this. So once I'm able to run it now, I'm just going to display how you can actually use it. So now this sales3.csv, now you can see now that if let me just remove this. Let me remove this. So I've removed the 3. So if I run it now, you see that this is just like first 5 which started from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I put 40 here, so it's going to give me the first 40 of my data, and you can see it now. So I can actually scroll it up, you will see it. You see 23, 24, abi 30, so till like 39, just because it started from 0. So that's why it end at 39, because I said it should give me up to 40. So he counted it from 0, which is 0. That's why I stopped at that. And if I use tail, so if I use tail, it's going to give me the last 40. It's going to give me the last 40. So that's just it. Dot head only give just like first 5, and dot tail also give just like first abi last 5 rows of your data. And your head, like head, using dot head will give you first 5 rows of your data. So that's just the function. So you can enlarge that by increasing the number you put inside of this. So if you want to do that, I believe you understand now. So now moving on to Matplotlib. So I think I've been explaining what Matplotlib means. Matplotlib is just like a low graph plotting libraries in Python. Anytime you want to plot a graph in Python, and as a data analyst, they said an adage said a picture worth 1,000 words. So most of the time when you see something in picture, you tend to understand it faster than somebody writing a lot of epistle, writing a lot of sentences, paragraphs and the like. So at times, putting them, and just like now, maybe I want to know the numbers of country that participated in maybe a sales, or even not sales, it can be anything. So if I want to actually know, if I'm trying to count them one after the other, you see that I will feel bored and it will be kind of difficult. But if I put them in a bar chart where I can easily locate the numbers of each country with the chart, and you will see, okay, this chart is the longest, that shows is the one that participates fully or more than this particular country. So at times working with chart is more preferable, and especially as a data analyst, you have to do something that will make life easier for your stakeholder or business owner. So one of the library you'll be using to do some visualization is Matplotlib. So, and is always encouraged to really know how to use it. So when you want to work with it also, if you are working outside Jupyter Notebook from Anaconda, or you are working outside Spider, you are working outside Google Colab, you need to install pandas. You need to install Matplotlib and also pandas numpy. The way I've been saying it, making emphasis on it. So how can you install it? You use pip install Matplotlib or numpy or pandas, just like the same way. So that's why it's just good to know one. When you know one, you'll be able to actually work around the others. So then once you import it, then once you make sure that this thing is readily available, what you just need to do is you import it the way we imported pandas, the way we imported numpy. So that's why numpy, that's why we are going to import Matplotlib also. So import Matplotlib. Now once you do this, it's telling you that now Matplotlib is imported and ready to use. So we can actually check the version. Let me clear the output so that I can just work around it so that we will not be seeing the results. We will have to learn how they are. So let me just clear the output. I'm waiting for the output to be clear. So that we can start from scratch. Sorry, there is rain falling at my side. If you are just hearing the sound of rain, so that's what is going on here. So after this has been cleared, I have to run it again. So once I run it again, so it's now loading. So once I run it, it's going to display now. So now seeing this, that shows the cells has run. So now I can run this also to check the version, because checking the version too is kind of important to know probably you are working with outdated version. Because I remember one time I was working with Seaborn library, and somebody did something with Seaborn, and I was finding it difficult to do, and I follow the same process, and later I found out that the Seaborn I was using was outdated. That's why I was unable to do that. So I need to upgrade it to that particular fashion before I'm able to do that. So at times it's good to check and check online too that okay, is this my Matplotlib is outdated or is current version? Is actually very good and it's a good skill. So PyPlot, most of the Matplotlib utilize so this. So now when you want to, when we are importing numpy and pandas, we only import pandas as pd or numpy as np. But here when you are importing Matplotlib, you have to put .pyplot as plt. This plt is just like alias, because I don't want to be repeating matplotlib.pyplot every time. So I just have to put a shortcut of plt to import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So and that's why I'm able to achieve a good result. So if you are not putting this, that shows you'll be repeating this. But don't forget that anytime you want to use Matplotlib, you have to put dot py plot. If you did not add this py plot, I don't think it's going to work. So you have to add py plot as plt. This plt is just like anytime I want to use it, I don't necessarily need to type matplotlib.py plot anymore. So I'm just going to work with plt. So if I run it now, waiting for it to load. So you can see this star is telling us that this particular code is trying to load. So once it loads now, we're going to proceed with what we're doing. So now it has loaded. So we have 3. So now the pyplot package can be referenced as plt. So now draw a line in the diagram from position 0, 0 to position this. So import matplotlib.pyplot as plt. So import numpy. Now I want to work with numpy and I want to work with matplotlib. I've already explained numpy to us. So I'm now want to take it more further by adding matplotlib with numpy. So now you can see this array that I was talking about the other time. Now I want to create a chart of x and y, and this x and y I want to make it in a chart. So x point, I'm now using lp, just like number as np dot array, which is 0 comma 6. That is, I'm giving a value from 0 to 6, and the y axis now np dot array 0 to 250. So plt dot plot n point, x point which is x axis, then y point, then plt dot show. This plt dot show make your chart to show, because there are some laptop that you don't necessarily need to use plt dot show and it's going to show, but at times on some people pc it may not show. That's why you have to use plt dot show, so that the the chart is going to show in that. And at times we do use magic line in matplotlib in line. So at times like me, I use this also, like this matplotlib in line. So because at times in some people's laptop it may not show if this is not used. So just to be on the safer side, you just need to use them completely. So once I load it now, I'm waiting for the output array, which is 0 to 6. You can see here that we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can see here we have 0, 50, 100, 150, 200, and 250. So this is just like, this is just like you combining a numpy, working with a numpy, and instead of you to bother yourself by putting them in a tabular form, now array numpy can easily do that for you. Then you use plt.plot to actually bring them in a, so you can, instead of using just a line, you can also change it to another thing. So that's just about that. So and also plotting x and y point, the point function is used to draw the point marker in a diagram. So by default the plot function draw a line, which we can see that this is just like a line chart. So and the parameter 1 is an array containing the point on x axis, the parameter 2 is an array containing the point. So these are just like if we need to plot a line from 1 to 3 to 8 to 10, we have to pass two array which are 1 to 8 and 3 to 10 to the point function. Just like now, we want to do another one, x point equals to np array, which we have 1 to 8, then 3 to 10. So if I run this now, so if I run this, so we see here that everything work perfectly fine, which we have 1 to 8 here, then we have 3 to 10, just like the same way we did the other time. So once you understand it and understand the concept, you'll be able to work with others. So this also, we can try to add marker. So what can marker do for us? Let me just run it and see what will happen so that you can see it. So if you are adding marker, these are just like, you see that here we had, instead of np array we put this number, then plt.plot y point, then marker equals to 0, plt show. We have, you see this zero here is just like this, marker, this is just like the marker, just giving some significant points at your chart. So I think with this it will be more feasible to see, like probably to be able to trace where all these significant points are. So that's what we call markers. So and this can be changed to anything. So I can put plus sign here. So instead of 0, let's see, you will see now, did you see the plus? Plus here, plus here, plus here, but this plus does not show like the O. So I think we should just go with O, because I think that's more show more. So this is it now. Then what else? We have import matplotlib as plt, and this also we can also use dotted. So if you run this, so it's going to show, you can use instead of line, it's just showing dotted line, dotted, dotted. So at times you can customize your chart anyhow. So so here you can add label to your chart, which is plt.x label, which is average cost, then plty is calorie. So these are just numbers that will be in our x and y. So we want to put the label, which is x axis and y axis. So let's see that. You will see here that we have calorie burn burnage, then we have average cost. So now you see that just what you can do with your Microsoft Excel and spreadsheet, that's also what you can do here. So I will probably stop here so that I will not bombard us with much information. So I want us to practice this, and the next class I will complete this, then start a project immediately in our next class. So any question based on what I've explained, and also about our project, people that have not turned in their project, hope there is no challenge. Hello, hello, are you still with me?
Mr. Lawyer, thanks very much for the class. So my own question is that you said Numpy normally go with Matplotlib, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
As in
If
the libraries of Numpy normally
yes,
go with
even
Matplotlib.
pandas also work with Matplotlib. I'm just introducing Numpy with Matplotlib. From the next class, I will combine it with pandas also, so that we can see how three of them works in hand. So almost everything work together. So I'm just trying to do it a step, and like a step by step.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Alright. So anybody with any challenge again, or any question?
And also, my own question is that this particular class, are you going to give us the PDF?
Am I going to do what? Please, am I going to do what? The class is recorded
I
though.
said,
The class
I
is
said I normally give us some pattern to normally go to the class.
ah, I cannot hear what you are saying very well, but the class is actually recorded, and I'm going to give the notebook I use immediately after the class. But if I did not give it today, I will surely give it tomorrow, because right now there's no light where I am, so even the uploading may take me time till tomorrow. So I'm going to do that latest by tomorrow and share everything. I'm going to share the notebook, the PDF file, and the video, so that we can actually go by. Although the first batch of the class, when I was explaining how to upload, I did not record it. So I start recording after explaining that. So because you may want to check that it's not actually with the video. So that's how I was trying to ask us if we really understood what I'm saying. So I only start recording from Numpy, then Matplotlib. So in case you want to work with that. But I don't know, maybe I answer your question because I was unable to hear what you are saying very well.
Thank you. But I'm also asking that the PDF, normally, just our previous slide normally give us certain PDF. we're going to go to like the platform list. I said, is it necessary now that you're going to pick up or not?
Yes, I will surely give the PDF. The only mistakes I made is I did not give the PDF before the class, and it's because I was kind of strong till Tuesday sef, so I was just getting better. So I just forced myself to be in class today because I should have postponed it, but I believe if I postpone it I will still be looking for time to come back to class. So I'm going to do everything. I'm going to share the PDF and the video link of what I taught today.
Okay, now, thanks. So sorry for not asking about your head. How's your body now? How's everything?
It's getting better. Thanks. Thanks for your time. So any more question about tonight class? So if we don't have question, I will call it a night. Sorry we did not use our whole time. I just need to rest. That's why. So sorry for that. So I will share the PDF, then I will share the video link probably tomorrow.